Welcome to WrestlingFigs.com. Tim Ash here, Toy Fair 2012 with none other than Bill Kerner. Bill, how you doing today?
Wow, great, Tim. Welcome back. Another year, huh?
Yeah, we won't make it long this year though, right?
I love them, man. I'm still on YouTube. I love it.
Well, I mean, you're a YouTube personality out there. I mean, it's good for you to be out there, correct? I mean, it's good to keep your name out there.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Maybe I'm not one of those guys that likes to find himself on YouTube, but yeah, I Google myself once in a while just to find myself on there. But
Well, it's good. It's good for us because we actually get a perspective from inside than just a salesman's perspective. So we get from a creator like you to be able to tell us a little bit about the behind the scenes of the figures. I think it's good for the fans out there at WrestlingFigs.com and on YouTube as well.
No, I kid. That was a fun. We got into a lot of stuff, and hopefully the fans are better informed, and that's what it's all about, really.
And that is what it's all about. Well, we're going to start with the Wrestling Figures forums questions, and the first question is, will returning superstars from this year's Rumble be incorporated in future lineups? And we're talking about Karma, Chris Jericho, people like that came back, Mick Foley, people that came back to the Rumble this year.
Yeah, Karma, for example, yeah, I mean, that kind of surprised us even. So, we're looking right now to see if they have her, coming back. Yeah, as soon as Karma's ready to come back, we're going to do her. We had her started, when she went out. And yeah, Mick Foley, he's still got I think a program-to-program deal now. But we're working on him, and obviously we want to do Mick Foley. We're going to do, we will do Mick Foley at some point, assuming things keep carrying on the way they are with him.
And Chris Jericho as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we were hoping to get Chris Jericho start doing some legend stuff with him, but now we can't do that because it looks like he's going to be back on the roster for at least a short term. So, yeah, we're going to update. We got tooling.
Well, one other guy that we had was the Road Dogg Jesse James. Can you tell us a little bit about him? Will we might see him in a future line?
I don't know about that quite yet. So, we'll
maybe exclusive somewhere?
Maybe exclusive, bring him back for somebody like that. But we haven't really talked about him too much.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a good answer. See, these are easy this year.
I truly don't. And listen, as we go forward, of course, I'm a guy. I'm handling a lot more lines now, things like that. So a little bit of the details, I'm winging some of them, but I'm going to give you as honest answers as I can. And listen, we can always even get some of the answers for you. You guys can inform the guys later on if there's something I can't pull out of my hat or pull out of my back pocket or pull out of my cheat sheet that I have in my pocket.
Yeah, your cheat sheet's good to have right now. All right, since Mattel owns the right to the DC Universe line, right, is it possible to see a Kofi Kingston figure in his Riddler tights that he's been wearing recently on television?
Yeah, there is. And if you remember, we did Rey Mysterio a while back as the Flash, and we can do that as long as I think DC, what they say to us, as long as we're not doing him elsewhere in the DC line. So yeah, I think that we will be able to do that as we go forward. They've been very amiable to that. So yeah, that's one of the things that's on our list. We just haven't gotten to it yet, but we will be doing that one, I think.
And from your perspective, what has been the most difficult figure so far to work on?
No, for me, and I tell you guys this, off camera all the time, I think it's the Divas for us. They are really the most difficult to do because for some reason, the subtleties of the women's, at least their facial sculptures, and obviously, are much more difficult to pull off and make them, instantly recognizable. You sculpt them without makeup on, they wear makeup, things like that. Guys tend to have a little bit more character in their faces, and you can grab things that are synonymous with their personality, and people get it right away. The girls are a little more subtle and a little more difficult for us, and we get a lot more feedback back and forth from WWE on them because they're more sensitive to the Divas and their look, and they actually show them to the Divas too. So which, we get a lot of feedback on the girls, a lot of feedback on them.
Well, speaking of the Divas, since you said they're the hardest to work on, I mean, we saw here today the Bella Twins and the Battle Packs. That's going to be in 15, I do believe. They looked really, really good with the Diva Championship there. I mean, they could, give it back and forth. They actually turned out very well. I mean, I was pretty impressed.
Oh, well, thank you. I know we kind of promised to show you those earlier, and we did struggle with those a little bit, and because they are, they're identical twins. So how do you do identical twins without making it look like you're just putting, and, some people have said, gee, are they going to just take one sculpt and throw them both in there? And we said, no, we don't want to do that. We want to, they're different in their look, and they're a little subtly different, but they're the same. And I think they come off pretty well.
Now, somebody else that's in that battle pack, it's not a Diva, but it's Sin Cara. This is going to be his first figure. It's going to be coming out in the battle pack, right? Not going to come out in the Elite Series first. It's going to come out in the actual battle pack.
That's right. Yeah, and it kind of was. It kind of went back and forth because we were developing them both at the same time, but we had some scale problems when we got our Elite figure back. We had to send it back and have it changed a little bit. So he's coming out in the 2-packs first as a basic figure, and then he's going to be coming out later on in 15, right? Yeah, in Series 15, in the Elites. So you'll get to see 2 of them, and he's going to be in Rumblers this year too. So
it'll be Sin Cara and Daniel Bryan in the battle pack. Right. Then he'll come out in the Elite 15 on his own.
Exactly, and then I think Rumblers is a little bit later in the year. He's going to be coming out in the Rumblers for you Rumbler collectors.
Now in Elite 15, he'll have his actual robe on. Is that correct? And is that going to be? It's not going to be a cloth robe. It's going to be more the leather style robe, right? Or plastic robe.
Yeah, it's going to be the molded robe. It's going to be the gold robe with the blue trim on it, but it's going to be a molded robe. It's one of those things that we're, we look at each one to see which is the best way to produce them. And, there's feedback, positive and negative for both. And we just try to do the best thing for the product and would replicate the product the best way. And that's kind of what makes our decision, whether it be a molded one or whether we go and do it out of cloth. So,
why do we never see the longer boot mode, like with Ted DiBiase, incorporated in the basic line? The longer boot mode.
These are decisions that are made by one of my guys, the other Bill, Bill
who's not here right now,
and I can't answer for him that. And we leave those subtleties. I really leave those things to him. Because and trust me, he tries to do the most accurate thing we have with the tooling that we have, and there's a reason why he does everything. Whether it be it most closely represents the outfit they have on, or the era that particular figure is representing. So, if they're not actually perfect all the time, it's because we try to get them as close as we can. That's all I can say to you. And we don't have an unlimited number of boots, so we just try to hit it as close as we can. And it's the same as the knee pad conversation, that we always have about what knee pads are. There's so many different variations of knee pads. We just try to do the thing that best replicates that particular era and that outfit that fella has or gal has on.
All right, this is going to be kind of a harder question. All right, this is going to be something that's kind of a stickler, so we'll just get this done. With both the Rockers and Andre the Giant still in stock on Matty.com or Matty Collector, is the Legends line now considered a failure, or has it had enough to been sold to justify more figures? Is there enough that has been sold to justify more Legends figures?
Well, we're not ready to call it a failure yet. A failure is when you stop, and we're not stopping. We're going to keep going. We've committed to the 6 that we're going to do this year. We're staying the course with it. We're going to find the best way to sell Legends, whether it be on Matty or direct to consumer as we call it, or whether it's in mass. We still sell Legends as flashbacks and Legends in mass that seem to do pretty well. We're trying to find out where the best place to do it is. We are always going to be doing figures that represent the history of WWE. All right, whether maybe we'll call them something different, but you're always going to get that high quality. Wrestlers from the history of WWE. No matter how we do it, we're making a commitment to keep them in the line some way somehow. We're not going to walk away from them. All right. Yeah, you know what? We are struggling a little bit with them, as I've been telling you guys for 2 years. But we're trying to find ways of doing it. No, we haven't sold out on the Rockers yet. That was we can talk about that for a half an hour. Probably reasons why that was a bit of a a bad experience for us on a lot of levels. Yeah, it was. Well, it was. So, and Andre right now, the jury is still out on him. He's selling decently. He's not knocking it out of the park, but he's there. Everybody that wants him can find him, and those are the promises that we made for Legends. That now the guys that can't find them, you don't have to worry about them being short packed. You don't have to worry about whether or not your store is going to carry them or not. You can get them there. So they're available, so we should sell the optimum amount of them as we can on Matty, and we'll get a pretty good read about how many people are out there interested in those kind of characters.
But do you think that that's part of the hunt for trying and the excitement about trying to find the Legends figures is where can I get them? I mean, besides having it just at Matty, I mean, at a higher price point than trying to maybe scale back a little bit on accessories and things like that to be able to put more of a Legends line out there? Because I think that would be a great idea is if you could still keep a Legends line going so that kind of to continue the previous classic superstar style, keep a Legends line running so people can have those, because I know that's one of my favorite pieces of having is a whole classic superstar line. Can we do a Legends line that maybe might be scaled back just a little bit to save you guys cost, but also keep it out there at a good price point for not only us but for you guys as well?
Well, certainly that's one of the things that we're discussing. We're discussing, the natural thing would be is that listen, I've said to use this term with you guys. You want to feed. I don't know, use the word, you guys aren't monsters, but you want to feed, feed the masses, a good term, feed the masses as quickly as they're willing to buy it. And that's what we're trying to find that level. There's a certain amount of guys this is why a lot of guys get into this is because of the hunt. They like the hunt, they like to find them. But we need to really try to find out what the consumer base is for these figures. And that's the nice thing about mass. If we short pack something in mass or pack it low, I don't like to say short because that's like a negative, but we pack something with less volume in mass, and you guys will get out and run around and try to find them, and I know that's part of the hunt for somebody. There's another part of them that they want access to them, they want to be able to find them easier. So that's the balance that we have to try to find, when we're merchandising this stuff to get it out to you guys, So we're going to try to find the best way to get them out there. We're still working on it. We still think that we can find an answer to this issue for us. And as you can see, we're still committed to Legends era figures. We're going to keep doing them. As long as I'm working on the brand, I'll say hopefully we're going to keep doing them.
As long as you have contracts with talent that you have to do, right?
It's exactly true, right? I mean, we have talent, a bunch of talent that we haven't even gotten to yet that we've signed deals with that we want to do. And going forward, we're going to do more as these guys start hopefully coming over from the dark side and maybe come over to WWE. Some of the guys that you guys have been asking for, maybe we can get some of those too. But we're going to keep doing them. We really are. And part of growing the overall line for us is we're creating the collectors of the future. So, and listen, we're getting a lot of retirements in the last year and a half or two. So we're creating our, legends now that are more current to the collector base that there is today. So I think that they're not going to go away in the short term.
So basically you're saying have the fans take to the boards so that people at Matty can see that they still want the Legends line in full force as much as they possibly can, even if it is cutting back a little bit on the Legends line, but still to keep the Legends figures out there?
Yeah, I'm not telling you guys to go out and buy everything that we have just to keep it going. I think there's a couple guys that have said that, well, they just want us to buy. No, listen, we want you, we just want to make sure you have access to them. Don't be afraid to buy them. By the way, we don't sell our figures the same way that Motu does, so you don't have to worry about buying them in the first 24 hours that they're online. We put a 6 to 8 week window on our stuff, and it'll sell whatever it sells through that 6 or 8 week window, and then we'll evaluate the amount of sales at the end of it. So it's not a question you have to buy it somewhere else to get it earlier. You have to, you have to wait to a certain period. It's going to be there for the full time at the same price. Everybody's going to get a shot at getting them. And then, we get through 1 or 2 or 3 of these, we're going to find out what that level is. And then we'll make the decision whether it makes more sense or we can sell more, maybe putting them in mass or keeping them on Matty. We're going to go to the best, vehicle to sell the product is what we're going to do ultimately. And more than likely, it's going to be on both.
I know some of the questions you can't answer that I'm going to ask you today, but, I have one that it's kind of bothered me over the last couple of years that you've had this line. Coming to Toy Fair, I know you do the Comic-Con. You do an exclusive at Comic-Con. You had the Undertaker, and then you had last year the Rumbler or this year you had Rumbler Rey Mysterio. How come at Toy Fair you guys don't do what the previous predecessor might have done and done a 1 of 100 Toy Fair exclusive for the wrestling fans out there to entice and increase that secondary market for figures?
Well, actually, it's a good question. It's a good question, and it was a good question earlier when you asked me it. And it's something you put it in my head, and it's something we considered. We look at San Diego Comic-Con as really our place to do that, and our rock offering was really, really successful last year. I tell you the truth, at that venue we like giving away stuff more than we do selling stuff. Yeah, exactly. At that venue, we thought that this, like I said, the Rey Mysterio thing was a big success for us. We're coming back this year with with another one. Yeah, so there's no reason why we couldn't do the same thing for Toy Fair. It's just, I guess it hasn't been on our radar screen for this. But as this grows, and we get more of the media attention here, it looks like to me like it was twice what it was last year. So yeah, it's probably a good idea. Maybe we will bring one back. That's something we'll talk to the marketing guys about.
That's what we want to find out.
See, you thought I was going to hate that question, didn't you?
No, well, I just want to make sure you can answer the questions and be comfortable with them at the same time.
Well, you're always going to ask me one question I hate, so that's okay. I'll let you guess which one it is.
All right, well, we'll figure it out. Are you still planning on releasing the new scale that you talked about before? I think it's a 3 3/4 maybe, or 3 3 1/3.
We are working on a new scale. We're working on a new scale for spring of 13, a new scale, yes. It'll be a new scale, it'll be a different price point, it'll be more of a basic kind of a figure. I can't tell too much about it now, but it's going to be different. It's going to be different than this. And it's going to be suited for probably maybe a little bit of a lower price point than the basic figures are, trying to give the audience what they need. We know that you guys are all we're all upset about prices and what's going on with prices, and we're doing our darndest to keep basic figures at $10. I mean, we have not changed that. Maybe I'm roaming a little bit, but getting back to the other things. So, we're going to come up with a figure base that is a little bit lower in price, so we know we can keep it at a reasonable level in terms of retail costs for the fans and the collectors. And we're ready to do another form factor now. So that's what's happening, and we're working on it. And there you go.
That's good. So that's what we need to hear. Any chance of more Build-A-Figures like you did for Michael Cole? Can we look at maybe a Jerry Lawler or a Jim Ross in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way. I mean, I've mentioned that before. I think it's a perfect way to get non-wrestlers, into the line, and we've gotten a lot of a lot of feedback on both. People seem to like the interview set, and of course the Cole one. They either love him or hate him, but I think everybody, thinks it's a cool idea.
Well, you can love to hate him.
And or you can rip his head off if you want to. That's the beauty of those figures. You can dismember them if you want to, or do whatever you'd like to do with them. But we think that that's a real nice, cool way to bring in, those kind of guys in there that we normally probably couldn't justify, doing any other way. But yeah, and so far the response has been very good for them. Very good. Yeah.
That's what we need to find out. Okay. Will Booker T be appearing in basic sets due to his appearance against Cody Rhodes recently, or even a lead again? But people want to see him without his, in his non-royal attire. Will you have it in just straight Booker T style attire?
Yeah. I think Booker T is one of the ones that we're kind of struggling with. But yeah, there's no reason why. I don't think in the future we can't do that. We're looking at him. He doesn't see. He's one of those guys that we don't know whether he's going to be in or come out. All of a sudden he's back in the ring again. So he's on one of our lists to look at in a future series. Yes, in basic.
Any chance on having a tag team as the flashbacks for a wave, or is it just strictly singles? Can we do flashbacks with tag teams?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we've been kind of concentrating. Our 2-pack strategy has been a little bit challenging for us lately because with a lot of the increases and stuff, it isn't. We've having struggled keeping it. It's really a value play. 2-packs. It's about giving you guys 2 figures for less than you pay for 2 figures. And so that strategy we're kind of working at. But yes, absolutely. I think the 2-packs, there's a room for them. I don't think we can do obviously as many as we were. Right. Again, it comes back to can we sell through them, and we have to pick really significant ones to make sure that they. That they're compelling enough to sell through, and that's really kind of another thing that we have to worry about. So.
Okay. Well, since we're talking about flashbacks with tag teams, I mean, you also have managers from the '80s that would be great to have, like the Bobby the Brain Heenans, the Mr. Fujis. Will we see those in kind of like a series like you're doing with like the Yokozunas and stuff like that, or are you considering those from MattyOnly.com? MattyCollector.com.
Yeah, well, that would be the natural place to put them, simply because of the exclusivity and the nichiness of those kind of guys, if that's a real word. But yeah, they're obviously a little bit more difficult to do than even current day guys. I mean, Michael Cole was a challenge for us to talk management into do it. So. So yeah, it's going to be. That's probably not in the near future, but hopefully if we can get a handle on how this Legends thing is, and get a good way of moving forward with Legends, then yeah, we should bring those guys in. They're a very significant part, even more in some cases than some of the wrestlers were in the history. So they are, we do want to bring them back, and they're perfect guys to do in Elite because they usually do have a lot of attire and suits and things that make them, really nice to be able to put in that Elite level, attire and things. So
yeah, that you can come back and put with the Andre with the title there, with a, bring in a WrestleMania 3 style Bobby Heenan or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's that's what's great about those guys, that we can come back and do that. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of guys up in front of those.
Right.
But yeah, would I say no? Never. No, I would not say that. I would say that we are going. I know Bill. My creative guy has got those guys lined up. He pushes them every meeting. He pushes them. So it's So I think we get a little bit more comfortable in where we're going with some of this stuff. Then yeah, we can work those back in. Yeah.
So here's a repeat question from last year that I have to ask, and you probably already know it.
That's the one I'm going to have.
Any plans to solve loose ankle joints? Now, I know that bothers you more than anything else, but I mean this is an ongoing problem. Is it a packaging problem where they loosen, or is it just a defect that's just happening?
We're looking at this is something that I'm even getting tired of talking about it with my own guys, because this is a process problem that listen, it's a design. If they either got to fix it or we got to change the design. It's a design flaw. And we've tested it. We've made sure that the factories are doing their due diligence. The stuff is coming off the line, within our spec in terms of tightness. For some reason, once we get them into a container and we get them on a ship and we get them over here, there's something in the temperature changes that's causing some of them to loosen up or tighten up, depending on what it is. So we got to work on it. I think my long term, it's changed the design. Long term, I think is really the thing. We've tried to fix it for 2 years now. It's one of the things that I've told the guys. I got Bill going over to Hong Kong, by the way, in April for a few weeks to work on a lot of issues. And this is one of the things that I'm going to have him really look at hard, because it's for me it's kind of embarrassing for me, because this is it's something that none of you guys have been asking me about for 2 years. It annoys me to death every time
But there's something that you're doing. I mean, you're trying to fix it.
We're working on it, and it's a traditional way of doing it. It's for some reason. It's a traditional way of making ankle joints, but for some reason in process we're having a little bit of a problem keeping them consistent. What happens is they get too tight, and then they come off the line. They're the way we want them coming off the line, but by the time they get to the consumer, for some reason they're loosening up, and we have to kind of figure out why it's happening.
Well, thanks for the honest answer of trying to look into it.
Yeah, it's hard, and sometimes we don't see these things until they're so far down the road that it looks like it takes forever to do these things. But that, and there's other things like staining and all those things that are common nagging problems for us. We think we have it all figured out, and then all of a sudden, boom, one shows up with staining again.
Right.
So it's our due diligence and our CPI, watching what's going on in the factories and stuff like that. We're pumping out a lot of product, and things tend to slip through the cracks sometimes. I mean, as they do in manufacturing. So
I think that's another question that I think we have is, the new cloth wasn't supposed to stain the figures, but some of the people out there are getting their Andre Giant figure with stains on it. What are your plans to fix that issue? Are you going to go and try to change that a little bit? Are you going to go to the molded style, or?
Well, yeah, all we can do is when stuff like that happens, and I saw that on a board too, because I think it was one thread on it that was crazy on it. All we can do is go back and immediately go back to Hong Kong and say, listen, it's about the dye in the soft goods. It's color fast, and there's something in the vinyl that is drawing that. There's some plasticizers in the vinyl or something that is drawing the dye out of the soft goods, and what happens is the soft goods are being made in one place and the figures are being made in another place, and they didn't have enough time to look at them. So it's a CPI issue for the soft goods that apparently they're not being tested the correct way. They're being tested the normal way you would, but they're not being tested with the material that we're putting them up against.
Right.
So it's one of the things, again, right? I almost feel bad to say, but yes, we're working on it every day. We try to, get more and more information about what's going on. And we've been changing materials, as you guys have known, on the shirts to try to solve the problem. There's something in this vinyl that changes the chemical makeup in these cloths, and it's pulling it out, and we just haven't quite found the right combination yet. I think we're just getting less than we were, but it's still showing up here and there, you know. So.
That's what they're asking. I mean, that's what the boards are for. Any chance of having future superstar versus legend battle packs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a kind of now and then kind of thing.
Kind of like the All-Star kind of pack?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like a Macho Man and a CM Punk?
Yeah. We love to do that kind of stuff, and and that helps us again. That's one of the strategy things that we can do. We can because we know if we put a CM Punk in with another guy that we know that we can get a little bit more volume out of it based on who we match them up with. Right. Now, of course, they're going to make sense. We're not going to just take and we're going to put a Randy Orton in there just to make sure that we sell it through. It's going to have to be significant. It's going to have to make sense. There's going to have to be some tie, either emotional or somewhere tie between them. Father sons. I'd love to do family stuff.
You got so many opportunities out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that we should be doing. And again, it's one of those strategies as we move forward is going to allow us to get some of those guys into the line that so we can keep the Legends thing going. Do
kind of like a family feud where you have like a Triple H and a Vince McMahon or something like that, or a Dusty and a Gold Dust or something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's it's so synonymous with what happens in the world, and that's the kind of tie-ins that we've always tried to do actually in our 2-packs. When we put 2 figures together, we want to make sure there's a reason for those 2 guys to be together, and not just because they happen to be in the same tool in the factory at the same time. There has to be you want to look at that and turn the card over on the back and say, oh, that's why those guys were at Survivor Series, or those guys that did this, or those guys they both had animal themed, whatever it is, whatever it is. But so hopefully a little more deep than that. But there's some tie between the two. That's what we hope to do, is to make it all relevant, and make sure it's right. So yes.
And that's a great way to put Legends into a figure line where you could sell them out too.
Just another way that we can keep them in. That's what I want to try to do here, is just to make you guys understand that we are really we're going to keep this up. We're staying the course. We're going to keep them doing, and you can hear the all the stories about the numbers and how the numbers are low, and we may say things that you're going to interpret once in a while. But trust me, we are staying the course. We're going to continue to do guys of earlier eras, and as long as we're breathing, we're going to keep doing it, and we're being pretty successful. So we're going to be breathing for quite a while.
Will we see a ring more realistic ring than the basic ring, but smaller than the elite scale? Like, will we see another elite scale ring that's okay? I mean, it's more realistic.
Yeah, we're working on that. The Elite ring did not do, that well for us in terms of volume. It was a high-priced item. Right. What we would like to try to do, we would try to do more of a closer to a real scale ring, but try to do one for a lower price. That's what we're working on right now. How can we get that, we call it a premium ring,
more realistic looking.
Yeah, because a lot of our rings now are being themed for our, more of our kids' design stuff, right, which, some of the more hardcore collectors might, may or may not take too. The rings basically is there, but they don't necessarily want on the periphery. Right. And every time I look at a figure in a ring, I say to myself, initially we scaled the ring basically right off of our predecessor's scale, just so we because that was an accepted size. But every time I look at the ring, I say, gee, it really needs to be bigger. Right. It really needs to be bigger. Right. But there's a lot of pressure to keep costs down, especially the ring. The ring, everything we do. I come back and give you guys sob stories about our problems. But the fact of the matter is that every day we are pinching pennies every day on everything we do, not just WWE. It's a very, very competitive business that way, and costs are always going up. So the ring issue is really a big one for us, and we know we want to make a bigger ring. We like to give you more value for the money. We'd like to give something a little better scale so you can get more figures in it. Make it, get any more 2 or 3 figures in that ring, and it gets kind of crowded in there,
Exactly. And I
so
think that's
we'd
part
like
of the problem.
Come up to maybe do a 16-inch ring or something a little bit bigger that we can throw out there and have guys, so they can, you can have more fun with it. I know you guys I know you guys are out there playing with these figures. I know
some of them are, yeah.
I know you are.
Some don't.
No, some don't. But we want to. Of course, that's we want to do something a little bit more than just the basic ring. So we're going to work on it, because I know a lot of guys would like to have another elite type ring, So that's what we're working on one right now.
Are there any plans to do figures over 10 inches? Now, what I mean by that is, or what I want to incorporate into that is, when we came to Comic-Con this year, San Diego Comic-Con, we got to see kind of like an Unmatched Fury style Randy Orton or CM Punk and doing the RKO. That I thought was really nice as far as like a mold. As far as just sitting there and having as a piece, as a trophy piece, as I would call it. Is there anything like that? I know you got the Brawlin' Buddies, I think is what's going to be coming out. They're over 10 inches, but more along the lines of it's not the Unmatched Fury style or a Ring Giant style from a previous, Jack's kind of collection. Do you have anything in mind for that in the future?
Well, the reason we did those was actually to get some feedback, and get some reaction to see if that type of thing, and Jax did some things that were similar to that, that were sculpted in nature and we're still kind of pondering it. We really haven't slotted it yet. We're trying to figure out how to do it and do it right, and where's the best place to do it. That may be an offering that may be perfect for Matty or perfect for a direct-to-consumer offering, where it's a limited edition, smaller runs. Higher quality stuff that's more of an art piece, as it were. My background is in collectibles and the Franklin Man and all that stuff. So I love that kind of stuff. I love sculptural, and maybe we might even use an artist of record or something to do that. What we call an artist of record, like one of the famous artists that we use around. And I don't want to throw a name at you yet because we haven't picked one. But similar to what the Four Horsemen do in Masters of the Universe, for example.
But we have to keep it at a price point that's affordable to people now that are collectors, because the economy is not as what it used to be. But how can we do that and still make that style product kind of like the previous predecessor did, to where you can still maybe do it as a collectible piece that's not so high in value as far as cost-wise?
Well, that's the rub, and as we try to feed product to all levels of WWE consumers, we just have to make sure that whatever we do there is going to reach enough of them where it makes sense for both of us, and because the fewer we do, the more it costs you guys, because that's just the fact of our manufacturing life, and we start getting under certain volumes of figures. So it costs more money. So the more exclusive something is, and we have to keep in mind the demographic of our WWE family. It's a working class family, and I know there are exceptions, but generally it's guys that are sensitive to what they spend every week. So we have to really keep that in mind. That's one of the challenges we have. It's one of the challenges that we have with our direct-to-consumer business, and we're working on some of those issues, and some of the stuff that we have to pay to ship things, and we're looking at all that stuff, trying to figure out ways of keeping the prices down, as much as we can. Every week we have meetings on cost reductions and how we can, and that doesn't necessarily just mean cutting the product. It means that we have to look at, how can we be smarter about the way we design stuff, and what kind of maybe it's in materials, and maybe it's in strategies, maybe it's in the case pack volumes. There's so many different so many different things that affect that. But we're looking at all that stuff every day. But I'd love to be able to do a sculptured, high-end, a statement piece that shows drama and really gives you that, captures that moment, that moment when John Cena is putting a move on some of your, something like that gives you that, that one epic moment.
Or the epic moment where CM Punk ended up putting Johnny Ace to sleep on Raw. That kind of.
Exactly. All those, whatever it is, but when you see it, and you go, oh yeah, I remember that. And that was such a cool, that was such a cool turn. It's that epic moment right before the pin. Yeah,
because I think that would be good for collectors to have.
Yeah, absolutely, and I would like to have that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff I like to put on my shelf. That would be cool.
What's been the design team's verdict on using rubber-style T-shirts for the Elite line?
Wow, I stole your thunder on that one, didn't I? Almost. So,
wasn't mine. It was somebody's.
We want to. We went to. For the Rey Mysterio shirt was probably a good example of it. That one shirt we did for Rey Mysterio, we went to like a Kraton material, which was a silicone-based material, because that material fit the style of that shirt that he had. That was one really tight, hugging, spandex kind of a shirt, and that's what we did. Soft goods are getting expensive for us to do. Labor in China is very expensive, so it makes more sense for us to mold shirts now. But we're not going to mold shirts where it doesn't make sense to mold them. If we have a leather jacket, for example, the edge, kind of stuff that's got folds and detail in it, it makes more sense to do that out of out of a molded material. The Sin Cara that we just talked about earlier, his jacket has that stiff collar, that Dracula kind of collar that he has. We couldn't do that in fabric and make that work. It would flop, it would fall, it would look terrible. It would look terrible in the packaging, it would look terrible on your shelf. So those are the kind of things that really drive our decision. But if we think that there's something that makes sense to make in cloth, we'll make it. We'll go back and make it in cloth because we want to do the most accurate reproduction that we can, and that's really what really drives our decision.
Is there any plans in the future? I'm going to kind of put these together. Any plan for like a flashback Shawn Michaels anytime soon?
This is 2 questions. Right?
Yeah, this is going to be 2 questions I'm going to put together.
You got one left.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
if I put these together, yeah, I'll have one left.
Counting, Tim. I'm counting.
Like a flashback Shawn Michaels, and then any plans for like a flashback Christian to go with the flashback Edge you did from Elite 13?
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, yes, absolutely. Christian, guys that are current in the line, we tend to hesitate more about doing them because we're using them in the line currently, and we have to pick our shots. So more of those will be guys that either are in and out or have just retired. Of course, Edge, he's Legends material now, right?
Yeah, he is.
So Undertaker is going to be a guy that we're going to have to really start thinking about. There's a lot of rumors that WrestleMania is going to be his last, time. So he's immediately, obviously, I expect him, if he does that next year, he'll be in the Hall of Fame. It'll probably take him about 3 minutes to get in the Hall of Fame, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah, we would all hope so. I hope they don't do a Pete Rose on him. But anyway, but that's another story. But he's got so many different characters, and we'll be the flashbacks. Christian, I don't know. We feel he's so much a part of today. We kind of tend to not think about him as much as for flashbacks, and there's so many opportunities to keep doing him today. That's when So we're filling him up with that, and then guys like Edge that now are definitely retired. Yes, you're going to see him. An Edge probably well before you'll see a Christian flashback. Okay. That was a long answer for a very short question.
It was. It's okay though. It's good enough to figure it out. All right, here's the last question. Here's the last question. Will there be more variants in future Elite waves? Because we had heard rumor that there was going to be a variant Mark Henry, and don't know if that's out yet or not. If there is there going to be more?
Well, how do you qualify a variant? I mean, variants. Is it something that we do on purpose to vary it from the original one? But we don't.
Different paint schemes, different style for that to come out, that kind of thing. Right. That will actually be in the same kind of series.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, we have to be careful that we do. We don't want to do too much of that because too much of that is frowned upon. Obviously, we try to do as much different things as we can every time we put a figure out. Even though we may do if I use Orton and Punk and some of the other guys that we do over and over again as an example, I think at least what we try to do is give them a fresh, their latest outfits every time we put them out, and that's what we insist upon. That's what WWE insists upon. So slight variants aren't something that really are on our radar screen too much because we're really looking to make statements every time we put something out. Unless it's something that really the fans have latched on, or something that they really are going to grab and say, "Gee, that's oh my God, that that he went from a singlet to a two-strap outfit or something like that." But anything more subtle than that, I don't know that we really strategically go after that kind of stuff. Is that a bad answer?
No, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can do something along the lines if we put a Zack Ryder in a figure, like an Elite Series, and do him with his Internet Championship instead of something else?
Oh yeah, actually we talk a lot about the Internet Championship, and it's a little of course we could do it, we just can't. We have to take so much off of it to do it because we don't have the rights to only one single little part of it. The rest of it would have to come off. But you might see that championship at some point further down the road. It'll be a little bit more generic out, but we're going to be doing that.
That's a good idea, though, right?
Yeah, it's an excellent idea.
I heard a birdie flying around asking about that earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's that? Your boss?
Yeah, maybe. Will we see more Zack Ryder figures in the Elite Series?
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. Zach seems to be on a roll, man. It started last year when I think it's Comic-Con when. when we started yelling about getting Zack Ryder back, and when they were mentioning it in the questionnaire there, I think it was CM Punk even was voting for him. Right. I think at that time, and boom, all of a sudden,
Well, he came to Ringside Fest this year and lit up the place. I mean, you had Punk, you had Bryan, you had Zack Ryder, and Zack took over the show. I mean, that's just the way he's doing it right now.
Despite Triple H, yeah, he's he gave him his shot, and it seems to be doing well,
Despite Triple H. we might want to edit that part out.
Paul, I love you, man. Don't take it personally.
Give Zach a chance.
No, he's got a chance. He's done a great job, right? And
keep it going.
And we've got a lot of stuff. Listen, Zack Ryder. We love that kind of stuff. He's a character. He's got different outfits. He's exciting. He's fresh. Listen, we get tired of the wrestlers in the black trunks as much as
I like gimmicks. I like Zack Ryder. I like the Funkasaurus. I like that idea.
All that stuff's good, man. Those are all bright things. That was one, and I talk about Triple H, but we talked to him specifically about that, and he asked us, what do you guys think? What do you guys think would drive more sales? We said, listen, you got to get more gimmicks. You got to get these guys changing their outfits more. You got to give them more to do. You got to give them more to do. And there was a time there when Cody Rhodes and I'm trying to Ted DiBiase were together, that era that went back. God, everybody they were just guys with trunks. There was nothing going on,
right.
And now they did Cody with the mask and the bag, and we got all that stuff. All that stuff is great for it. We love when we see that kind of stuff. Every time Punk adds a tattoo, we all freak out, but at the same time, yes, we've got something new. We got a variation that we can do on CM Punk. So it's all it's all good when the more stuff that happens like that. Yeah, and we're happy to see them starting to bring more characters back. Kane, good example.
Yeah. The mask.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So.
Well, Bill, it's been a great interview as always. You always tell us the most in-depth information that you can, and it's over. It's over. Don't worry about it.
That's okay. I'm sure, and to my friends at Mattel, I'm sure I'll hear some things about some of the things I say, but that's okay. Listen, you guys, that's what you guys are here, and that's what you're all about. You're here to get information about that, and we're going to give you as much as we can give you. That's
and then we appreciate that.
We have to save some stuff for Comic-Con. We have to save some stuff for later on in the year. We can't blurt it all out at the same time.
So any hints for Comic-Con coming up?
No.
Okay, no hints. Can't get that this early?
No, listen, we're doing some. There's a few things. We're going to do another giveaway this year.
Okay, so we'll have an exclusive there.
We are going to do one, and we're not allowed to tell you about it yet. But we're going to do another giveaway.
Is it going to be Rumbler style, or
yes,
is it? Okay.
I can tell you it will be another Rumbler style. That was very, very successful for us. We found out we're not going to go into Comic-Con and try to make money.
Right.
It's
kind of hard to lug a bigger figure around when you're at Comic-Con anyway, because of all the masses.
Yeah, you know what? And it's really all about PR and connecting with the fans and stuff there. So we've decided, listen, we're gonna do a Comic-Con kind of exclusive every year. At this point, it's going to be something we're going to give away, and it's going to be about for the fans, and hopefully, hopefully those San Diego Comic-Cons will be our toy fair item for the fans for that year, and I will take your other suggestion into consideration for toy fair next year, and maybe we'll have something here too. That's worth thinking about, definitely.
So just have the fans out there stay on the figure board, the message boards, and just keep looking forward to Comic-Con. And anything else you want to tell to the wrestling figure fans out there?
Yeah, well, just let's keep and the guys that are on the boards know. They know I'm there because I do peek in once in a while, and I'll say something once in a while. We are listening to what these guys are saying. We may not respond to everything that that is said or jump into every thread that's there, but trust me, we're listening on there. We truly are, and we're going to continue periodically do questions, Q&As, and we're going to try to incorporate as much as their wishes in the line as we can. And that's all we can say. We're doing our best, guys.
That's all you can say.
Yeah, we're doing our best, and it's a big company, and we have a lot of things that we have to feed, and a lot of strategies that we have to maintain, and and a lot of people to serve. So you guys are one element of that, and a very, very important element of that. And I think that's the thing to take away. No, we're not forgetting about you guys. We're going to continue making collectible product and stuff that you guys want. So.
Well, Bill, as always, it's a pleasure. Thank you guys for watching the videos. For Bill Kerner, I'm Tim Ash here at Toy Fair 2012.